Vocation by Commission Member Epperson, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission Member Roundy.
Our Father in heaven, we are indeed grateful for the opportunity to be gathered here as citizens of this great community of West Haven. We're so grateful for the freedoms and the blessings we have. Please help us to be able to be civil with one another, and that we may be able to listen and understand and to have empathy for each other, and that we may be able to make the best decisions that would benefit this great city of ours. And we're so grateful for the freedoms and the blessings thou bestows upon us. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 All right, please stand for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, actions on our minutes from our June 22nd meeting. Everybody have a chance to read those and go
I
over
did.
those?
There were a few typos, but that's all I noticed. I don't know if that's a big
Anything
deal.
that changed the
No.
meaning?
Then what?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Probably.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from our previous meeting.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve our June 22nd meeting minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Melinda's not online yet. Okay. Melinda is online today because she's had COVID going through her family, so we appreciate her not giving it to us. So, all right, next item on the agenda is action on amended minutes from March 25th.
So on those ones, as I was going back through reading, I noticed one of the motions didn't get put on, so that's the stuff that was in red.
Is it March or May 25th?
It's May 25th.
Because the packet has May and the agenda has March.
It's whatever the minutes are,
Okay, it says May
May.
25th.
May 25th instead of March 25th.
The packet has it as May.
But we're amending it at this point. Oh, you're saying, oh, I get it.
This is your big legal opinion for the night.
Yes, I'll turn on the microphone. It is. We'll need to put it on the next agenda and have it say May 25th, because where it says March,
I make a motion to table number 4. Is that,
Do
Table
we
it or
need to
just nix
table it
it?
or just skip over it?
I would table it,
Okay,
table the action.
I made a motion to table.
okay.
Second.
I have a motion, a second to table item number 4, action on amended minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. There you are. Any opposed? Okay. That one's tabled. Item number 5, report actions taken by City Council on Planning Commission recommendations. Sherry?
the council approved the preliminary plat for Sunset Farms. They adopted the landscaping standards and requirements ordinance. They made some minor changes to it, but they weren't substantially different than what the commission recommended. And then they actually denied the preliminary plat for the Village at Green Farm. In the conversation with the council, some things were brought up related to the developer not performing some of the obligations under the MDA. And so staff is in the process of working through some amendments to the MDA with the developer that will give more specific timelines for performance, and to try and remedy some of those issues and things that haven't been done.
So will we see it again, or is that going to be up there? Is the city council going to?
Because you'll see the amended MDA. It'll come to
Okay.
the planning commission actually before it goes to the city council. You'll make a recommendation on it to them.
Okay.
So I know I questioned it when he came. Is there something stated clearly or not clearly in the MDA about having not owner-owned properties and renting them? That was the other issue from the complaint. Is that an issue, or?
That,
Sorry, we have to share a microphone. What the issue was that started it, the discussion was that in the MDA, it very clearly talks about that whenever they bring a phase, they have to, and it touches open space, they have to bring a site plan for the open space. It wasn't included with, and because of all of the other violations of the MDA, because there's issues regarding the cul-de-sac not being finished, the road's not finished, the park's not finished, there's several things that's why they denied the approval, and so he'll end up having to come back here with the open space site plan attached to it and proceed that way. But I'm guessing that it'll probably also, at that same time, we will have an amendment to the MDA regarding how they're dealing with these issues. So that's what.
Okay. Anything else?
No. Those were the things that went to council at their last meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Item number 6, discussion and action regarding approval of conditional use for an accessory dwelling unit that is larger than 1,200 square feet located at 2213 West, 2550 South for applicant Martin and Brittany Ford. Are you here? Come on up.
Good evening.
Are you Brittany?
I am,
Okay.
yes.
So tell us what you want to do here.
So we have a large pole barn behind our house on our property. We have a little over 3/4 of an acre. And our little family is growing out of the house that we're in. So we would like to use that pole barn that's larger than our home and convert it to a home so that we have room for all of our babies.
Okay, so it's going to be your primary residence
Yes.
then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a problem, isn't it?
Huh? When we talked, there may have been a misunderstanding then. I knew you didn't know you guys wanted to use it as the primary residence. I thought it was just going to be an ADU until you figured out what you were going to do with the main house.
No, so
I may have completely misunderstood you.
So the warehouse would be our primary residence, and the older house will still be there, so someone could rent it if they wanted to. But then we would just live basically the back half acre.
So how big is the primary, the old house?
Either
just
just under or
over-
just over 1,200 square feet.
Oh. So if you were to build the original house, it would be just a hair bigger than our ordinance, I guess. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, the barn is much bigger than the
Yeah, but
existing
Yeah,
house.
so that'll now become their primary residence, but the other part.
can just swap that like that?
Yeah, that's the problem though. Is that going to work? Don't setbacks come into play in that? And
Their house will be set back. Less.
It's
Property line,
Is it on the property?
it's different.
I think so.
And I owe you a huge apology if I've misunderstood when you and I have talked, because that becomes a different conversation because
Okay.
it sits right on the property line.
Right, because they built the building before they established that property line. So then they divided the property after the building had already been built.
Okay.
Because it was a family that owned a bunch of
yeah,
acres.
I'm actually going to have to look at this more because it becomes a completely different conversation. That I apologize, but I'm going to request that the commission actually table this because this isn't as clear cut anymore as I thought it was.
Okay,
And I am so sorry if I misunderstood you.
Okay.
But we'll have to have you come back if they
Okay.
choose to table it.
okay.
This is 36.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
sorry.
I'll make a motion to table
So
item
we're-
number 6.
all right. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion, a second to table. All those in favor on item number 6, the conditional use for accessory dwelling unit. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
There's also,
Any opposed?
Sorry.
Okay. So work with Sherry.
Okay.
And hammer this out.
So sorry.
That's okay. We figured out the fire truck issue,
yeah.
so we'll talk it through.
Because usually it's the primary resident and they're doing an
See
ADU
our
in the
addresses.
barn, so we're kind of.
Yes, yeah.
kind of
so
a
it's kind of
retro.
the opposite.
Yeah, so work with her and she'll
And we're going to be seeing a lot of the different variations of this same thing, so I think they want to iron them out.
Well, and that's the hard part is we need a bigger house, can't afford to buy a bigger house, don't want to leave West Haven, so it's like we're trying to get creative. So
Yeah.
we'll work with Sherry and we'll see what we can figure out.
Yeah, figure out something.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you for
Thank
coming.
you. All right,
Well,
were you
just
saying?
point out, for conversation purposes, the addresses on the top of this don't match what's in the readings.
I'm sorry, there, I did a bad job of cutting and pasting on it.
Okay, just making sure that it doesn't come back
it
still
does down here under
wonky.
background. It's the
No,
right address.
that's on me.
Okay,
Yeah. All the drawings have the right address, so, all right. Okay, item number 7, discussion and action regarding preliminary site plan approval for All Woods Tree Service at 1625 West, 2100 South for Mike Wood. There you are.
Hello.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How about you
Good.
guys?
Looks like you made some changes on here for the road base, for the stalls and that. Any other changes?
No, that was it.
Like it says on my staff report, there are still a few things they need to do before they can start actually doing the work. But I asked the city engineer and he said none of that really should hold up giving final approval. But before the city engineer will sign off on it, before they can start any work, these things have to be done.
was this preliminary or final?
This is final.
Why does it say preliminary then? On the agenda.
Oh, they've already been in here for preliminary.
Just,
Yeah, we were here last 2 weeks ago.
I remember, I'm just saying,
too.
So are we gonna have to table it for the same
that's
reason?
what I'm asking.
Because it hasn't been,
Are you serious?
yeah, because you can't vote on the final because it's noticed up as a preliminary.
But in the packet, it says final.
The report says final, but it's not but the agenda is not noticed up that it's final.
We're sorry.
Okay, so
Next meeting.
it'll be on it next meeting, so I get to come back one more
Yep.
time.
Make a note, final, put it down there as final. I will look at the agenda as soon as we get it to make sure it says final, because we can amend it 24 hours before the meeting, so. Make sure we get it done, so. Is there anything else you need to tell him while he's here? Sherry,
Sorry, what?
is there anything else you need to tell him while he's here?
There's just the stuff that's in the staff report.
Did you see the staff report on it?
We can
I,
get them a copy of it. They've been given those items.
I would have to look and see if we do have a copy of that on email.
It's online, if not.
Okay,
Yeah, it just has what they, like, they want everything graded toward the interior of the property, there you go. So when you do build it, so that it drains into itself and not onto other properties,
Okay.
that kind of stuff, so.
yeah, the city engineer did send that over to us.
Okay,
Yeah, it's nothing different than what Ed emailed you guys. So,
okay.
yeah.
And they won't change your drawings, I don't think, because you don't have any kind of elevations like that on the drawing, so. You don't have to worry about that. For us, anyway. Okay, I have a motion.
Table it even though it's not.
Yeah, we have to because it doesn't say final.
So we just table it forever?
Right,
because
attorney?
It's not coming back.
One, can I say something? I mean, we're trying to buy this piece of ground, and we're started a process months and months and months ago. And every time we do this, we're asking a whole lot of the people who are selling the ground to hold off. And there's no way, we have to come back, is that what you're saying? Because of one word, final
Wanna
versus
explain why?
preliminary?
So the planning commission can only act on what it states on the agenda. The agenda is what controls. It's sort of like, and I think you were sitting here, weren't you, when we had a discussion about the action on the amended minutes, and it said March 25th, 2022.
Yeah.
They can't act on it unless, and it's there for a reason. It's because of the Open and Public Meetings Act. You want to be able to have the public know exactly what you're discussing at the meeting, and that's what the agenda does. It gives you that notice of what it is exactly done. However, you have had preliminary site plan approval, correct? I mean, that's,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so really, you're halfway there. I mean, and actually, you're most of the way there. If
You're not going to be denied at this point.
Yeah, you won't be denied. The things that are on the, that they're requesting, you know, that
Staff
the engineer
report.
is requesting on the staff report is really what the controlling thing is as to what you're going to have to do. I mean, that's what the planning commission is going to be looking at as to what the conditions are. They'll, like tonight, in theory, they would have most likely approved the final site plan with those conditions. So you're in a good spot as to knowing what the expectations of the city are. And you don't have to go to city council. So this is really just a final hurdle. And those things that are outlined in that staff report are really what you just need to be focused on as to getting accomplished. So I
And
don't
we
know if that
can-
helps make you feel any better as to.
No, it doesn't.
But what she's saying though is you can
I-
close on the property because you've already got assurances basically from the city that if you comply with what the city's notes are, you're good to go.
And until we have it 100% dined off, this is a big transaction for us, and we don't feel comfortable because
Okay.
we've been running around for 3 months or more trying to get information, doing our due diligence, and so we definitely don't feel comfortable making a huge investment like that, and then have something else come up that would be a stick in
Well,
the
but
mud.
see, you're already down that road is what she's saying.
Yeah. Well, and now, yeah. But it's frustrating.
I mean, legally, you're down the road, so the city
Yeah.
can't come back now and say, hey, we want you to put this and
Okay.
this and this and this, you know.
Yeah.
He's
It-
still
it's-
not that big a gambler, he says.
Gotcha, but
And
I'm just
that's
saying it's a
totally
little
understandable.
gamble.
But like, it'll be 2 weeks. It'll be on the 27th, where
Okay.
it'll come back.
And I don't have to send anything in. I'm on the docket for 2 weeks from now.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
okay. Sorry
done?
about that.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion on that.
Make a motion, we table the preliminary site plan approval for All Woods Tree Service.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to table item number 7, the preliminary site plan approval for All Woods Tree Service. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, should be final for next time, right? Everybody made notes? Okay, item 8, discussion regarding feedback from open space zone open houses. Do you want to introduce our new
Sure.
city planner at this point?
Alka, do you want to go to the microphone? I am very excited to have Alka on board, partly so that I don't keep making little mistakes on staff reports. Alka, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Alika Murphy. Currently, I work for Wasatch Civil as a drafter, designer, and planner for them. Currently doing work in Morgan, helping them out while they don't have a planner. But I'm happy to join West Haven. Yeah, hopefully we can, minimize any mistakes.
So Morgan City or Morgan County?
County.
County.
Yeah. I sat in on her interview and we were very impressed with her, so.
Yeah.
We had 2 really solid applicants and you shown above, beyond, so it's great.
Well, I'm excited. Nice to meet all of you.
Yeah.
Alka starts on the 26th. And so I'm still working on exactly what her duties are going to be, but it's basically going to be handling like reviews of applications like you saw tonight, One of the things that really stood out to me is I asked all the candidates that we interviewed, the two that we interviewed, I asked them to bring in staff reports. And you guys are going to be really, really impressed with the work that Alika does. It's far beyond anything that, in terms of professionalism, it's far beyond anything that I've seen. It's really impressive, and I think you guys will really, I think you'll quickly come to appreciate the level of work that she does. So,
Yep.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're fluent in Spanish, which I thought
am,
was,
yes.
everybody thought that'd be a great plus to have someone here at city staff that can speak Spanish. And
Yeah.
I think you got a degree, your degree is in planning as well,
Yes,
isn't it?
I have my
Yeah.
degree in planning.
Yeah, so, yeah.
and we may even have, with the background that she has with drafting, it may be that Ed's able to use her as well on some city projects, just so that she can kind of
Absolutely.
keep that skill active. So her skills will be greatly used and greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
Yeah, we're glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bienvenidos.
All right, so how were your open houses? Too bad you didn't hire her sooner, right?
I know. I'm not sure I would have done that to a brand new employee. No, I feel like they went well. We got a lot of really good feedback. A lot of positive comments from people who said that they appreciated that the city was being transparent about this. Really when it boiled down to it, the primary things that, excuse me, the primary concerns that came out of it were people's concerns about accessory buildings and animals and home-based businesses. Those were the three biggest things that came out. There was a lot of feedback from people who were supportive of rezoning properties from open space to A1 or R1 or just a variety of different zones. There were people that would prefer to see the city just expand the open space zone. Some of the feedback and some of the thoughts that I had, and there's differing opinions on what is the best approach. But we got a lot of really good feedback from people. And like I said, really when it boils down to it, were those three big concerns. And then also the other large concern that came out is if rezoning would affect the valuation and assessment on their property in regards to property taxes. That's something that I'm working out with the county assessor's office, not like ensuring that it does, but trying to see how rezones versus just expanding the zone that they're in, how that would affect property taxes. So those were the biggest concerns. Overall, I think it was, in my opinion, from my end, it was a largely positive experience.
How many people approximately attended?
Between the two nights, I would say there was close to 150. The first night was more well attended than the second night. I think regardless of which direction the commission and council choose to go on this, the one subdivision that I can say without certainty will need to be rezoned is Fairgrove.
Because it's zone commercial.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the city council last week, in order to kick into effect the pending ordinance doctrine that the state has, the city council at their meeting last week, not to preempt the planning commission or anything like that, but the council had an item for discussion on their agenda related to rezoning subdivisions. Not because that is the direction they have given staff or anything like that, but because by putting that as a discussion item on the agenda, if by some odd reason somebody were to come in and try and do a commercial use in the middle of Fairgrove, the city has 180 days to put that application off until a determination is made on what's going to happen. So like I said, that was put on the council's agenda to kick off the 180 days, not to preempt the input of the planning commission. The council did request that staff put together, not a menu, but I guess the staff put together different options, so that the commission can weigh in on their preferred option, then the council can weigh in on their preferred option, so that staff has a clear direction of which way to go with this. Because, I mean, we can have all these conversations and we can talk and say, this would be good, this would not be good. But until like specific direction is given by commission and council to staff, like that has to be the starting point for like the real substantive action, whether it's rewriting an ordinance, expanding a zone, some combination of the two, rezoning.
Well, rewriting the ordinance would probably be the easiest thing to do, but the diversity of the subdivisions is the problem.
Fairgrove
Attorney
is going to
smiles.
have to be rezoned.
You mean it has to be an official thing on an agenda? Because I kind of thought that was the majority's opinion at that meeting.
Well, okay, so the official thing on the agenda, like the city has to properly agendize that a rezone of some or all of those subdivisions is being entertained in order to delay applications for land uses in that. Like it has to be specifically agendized. There are differing opinions among senior staff about what the best Yes, no. There are differing opinions, all of which have merit among myself, the city attorney, and the city manager about what the best path is to pursue to remedy the situation. So we will be presenting options to the commission to make a recommendation to the council on what the best path is to move forward. So that's kind of a summary of it. We haven't fought about it, if that's what you're wondering. We just disagree.
No, I'm just curious what Amy wants to do.
Whatever the city wants me to tell them to do.
Well,
what she wants to do.
that was such an attorney answer.
Way that
I mean, it's
she
just,
makes it think that we're doing
the
what
thing
we
is,
tell
it's
her
a
to do.
policy issue.
Right.
And so what my personal opinion is, versus what's legal versus, what the policy it should be, that's all,
Well, I think all the routes are legal, right?
Yeah, the different routes that we're talking about, either amending the open space ordinance and adding, in things so people are then in compliance, that is perfectly legal. Rezoning to a zone that we already have, that, where these houses comply with that particular zone, that is legal. So really it comes down to, or some combination of that, depending on, which I think you are going to have have to have some combination of that possibly, because there are some subdivisions that are very clearly, you can stick it into, one of the residential zones and it fits perfectly with everything about it. There are some things that it looks, you have different sized lots, you have all sorts of stuff like that that are happening in it that, we may need to, the best thing may need to tweak the open space. And so
Well,
is
is it a tweak or is it an overhaul?
It's an expansion of the allowed uses.
Yes. Meaning you can have a home. Yes.
Yeah, an
And there
accessory
may
dwelling.
be,
I don't consider that
like,
a tweak.
Well, but it won't be that, it doesn't have to
that's
be that
a
wordy.
technical term.
That's kind of a bit of a minor understatement, I guess, when we
Yeah.
say tweak. But, I mean, it's, all of that's legal, and so it really comes down to, it's a policy question as to what, what you guys decide would be the best policy.
So in the open houses, what was more preferred by people?
It was actually pretty evenly split.
Okay.
One of the things with expanding the open space zone, and there's a way to not get around this, but there's a way to offset, that's the word, not get around, is you can't just do a blanket expansion of the open space zone because in every zone, there's site development standards that set like the minimum lot size,
Right.
setbacks, maximum building height, stuff like that. If you just do a blanket expansion of the open space zone, you have to take the minimum lot size all the way down to 6,000 square feet to cover everybody. And that I don't think is desirable for a lot of the subdivisions because then that opens up a
Split
lot of
lots.
lots to be able to be split. So, I mean, one of the things that you can do to offset that is you can tier it and say, okay, if it's 6,000 to 12,000 square feet, the minimum, like the setbacks are this, the building heights are this. If it's like 12 to 20, so that you can tier it within that. So if there is expansion of the open space zone, if that's the direction we're given, it's likely that it will end up being tiered somehow. But I agree with Amy that in all likelihood, there will probably end up with some combination of the two, but we will go whichever direction the commission and council tell us.
Well, I know in that joint meeting we had with city council that, I mean, the concerns that people had were pretty much the concerns there,
Yeah.
and the direction to go was kind of split too, so.
Yeah. And that's why we're going to have some pretty concrete options. We'll probably put together what the pros and cons are, just so that we can paint as clear of a picture for commission and council.
So are we gonna move forward with the whole thing, all the subdivisions together? Are we gonna, the ones that fit perfectly into residential zones, are we gonna take those first, or?
It's going to depend on what path staff's directed to pursue. So honestly, like that's,
So our next meeting, what's the plan for that, for this?
at the next meeting, you'll likely have the options fleshed out to look at. And then you'll look at them, and if you choose to make a recommendation to council that night, then you choose to make a recommendation that night. And if you want to take more
So
time.
that'll just be the path to pursue, essentially, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because like I said, like we can talk about it and we can weigh the pros and cons and we can say, what about this or what about that? But at some point, like staff has to have a policy directive
Yeah.
before we can put everything together and get this remedied.
Sounds good. Yay. Well, thanks for all your work so far. I know it's been a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Before we adjourn, I just have a question, just on the previous matter with the wording that we didn't have the final on there. Would it ever be like legally appropriate to have like, just notice it appropriately and have a quick Zoom meeting? I was asked Darren and he didn't think that would be feasible, but like to accommodate this gentleman, so he didn't have to wait 2 weeks.
You have 24 hours that you can always amend your agenda. If you want to, hold a special meeting, then you would just have to notice it up and hold a special meeting. I mean, with all the rules that come with that. But that's, that's where you're at.
It's not super hard, I think we should do.
I mean, that would be hard
You couldn't
logistically
do
with
it.
everyone, but
You can't do it sooner than 24 hours.
No, but the question is, could we do what needed to be done and then have a Zoom meeting on Thursday evening or something? I don't know. I just feel bad for him.
I know, I do too, and I just was like,
You wouldn't be able to do Thursday, like tomorrow evening, because we're past,
the 20,
Yeah.
unless we did at 9 PM. I
past
don't
the
know.
time. I mean, it's 6:30 right now.
I just wanted to throw it out there. I just thought, and maybe he'd be like, you know what, 2 weeks is fine.
No,
I
he's
just,
not.
But
Obviously,
yeah, I'm
it's
kind of
not.
frustrated for him, and I just wondered, put it out there, it would be like, probably it would be a very quick thing, but what are your thoughts? Like, is it,
I mean, if we had a quorum, like on a Monday morning or something or whatever, I would pop in for a meeting.
but even if we did it all by Zoom, I mean, people at their other work locations, if we,
Because it was our mistake.
can you do a majority by Zoom if we have,
You just have to have a quorum, agree to be the Zoom.
I mean, here's the problem. We don't necessarily want to create a special circumstance because everybody's always going to have an emergency. I mean, there have been things with this gentleman that he has, it's not been the staff's issue as to why things have taken so long. There have been issues going on with him trying to work some things out.
But the last issue with staff,
this
one is,
particular
and that's
one-
why we're
It's our fault.
This
but-
Yes.
this one is our fault.
But it hasn't taken that long because of us.
Is what I'm trying to say. And I'm also trying to say, there can be other reasons if people want to come in and have you guys hold a special meeting, and I would hate for you to set that kind of precedent of that we, may be willing to do something like that.
The problem I have with it though is the public perception of having these secret, quick meetings that aren't
Yeah.
the regular meetings.
I just was curious,
Yeah, I mean, I can see some
would be public, but
circumstances
still.
where it would maybe be appropriate. There's nothing, he has the assurances that it's gonna be approved. At this point, because he has complied, like, we wouldn't be able to withdraw the approval. He was given this stuff that's in the staff report, he was given several days ago. He was given a week ago, so where it won't, and I understand that it was a staff mistake. If it was something that actually was gonna prevent the purchase of the property or something like that, then I could see it, but he has everything he needs from the city to be able to close and to be able to move forward. I mean, he can even go out and get the work done and order his materials and all that and order his road base and things like that. So there's nothing that's holding up closing on the property.
I think we made that clear.
Yeah, I mean, I get that he's not necessarily comfortable with that, but he has that preliminary approval, and frankly, a lot of rights vest at that point. I mean, we can't just go back and say, well, sorry, we want you to totally redesign it, or we want you to, the issues that he's being asked to deal with on this final, have been there all along. So, and didn't we give conditional approval, Sherry, on the preliminary that he had to accomplish these things? So, I would say more along the lines, if it was preliminary level, I think I would probably say, yeah, if you can maybe fit it in, maybe you might want to do it, but he's vested with a great deal of rights where he's at right now.
okay. Well, thank you. It was kind of burning in me, and I was kind of wondering. So, well, maybe we can make sure he's at the top of the agenda.
It's a good question to
Get
ask.
him in and out.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask.
So, I don't want us to do those on a regular basis, but I thought, well,
Yeah.
this might be warranted, but.
Okay. I'm ready for a motion on item number 9.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
That's,
I'll second it.
okay, I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.